World healing is going to begin here, guys. I know some of you guys are feeling a little fearful. We've been looking at different news headlines. We have been minding other people's business and not tending to our own business and our own health. So today we're going to talk about metaphysical reasons behind why you might be sick. All right, as I said in some previous videos, I'm on a healing journey. I've had some health challenges, and I finally had to start looking at the reasons why I may be being sick over and over again. All right, usually when we are sick, I'm going to give you an example. Some years ago, when I was in my early 20s, I think I had a muscle spasm or something happened with my back. And I ended up in the emergency room. And I remember the nurse asking me, she said, "Did you take anything?" And I said, "No." And she said, "You know, big girls, they take Tylenol." Well, in my early 20s, not being really sick and being healthy, I just figure, and I didn't take medicine. I wasn't the type of person to take any medicine. Not that you can't take any medicine. If you are hurting, by all means, take medicine. But I was one that didn't really care for taking medicine. I always kind of knew that any pain in my body was telling me something, was alerting me to something. And I still always believe that today. So now I would say to that nurse, big girls find the metaphysical reason behind their ailments. All right. So metaphysics, if you're sick, that means that you are not in alignment, not in harmony somewhere in life. If you're sick, your body is talking to you, your body is telling you something. And when we reach immediately for pain reliever or medicine, you are telling your body essentially to just shut up. All right? You're telling it to be quiet. But if you are having the same symptoms and pains and ailments all the time, consistently, or year after year, it is time for you to look at maybe the possible reasons behind what is bugging you, because something is really bugging you. All right? So I'm going to go through a list today of some common ailments and symptoms that you guys may be having. We're just going to go through a few. I want you to think about it. I want you to consider that that's a possibility. I'm not asking you to do anything about it today. I'm just asking you to consider it. I am asking you to journal, write down, think, reflect on it, and consider, is it something in your life that may be the cause. Okay? All right? If you have a therapist, you can talk with your therapist and talk through it. But I say world healing starts today, because this really may start helping people as I am working through some of these things. All right. So if you have abdominal cramps, maybe, just maybe, you have a lot of fear. Maybe you have fear, because abdominal cramps usually mean that you're stopping the process of something. I know when I've had abdominal cramps, I try to listen to my body. I try to figure out what it is telling me. And usually it is something that I have ignored for a long time. And it always comes up during my menstrual cycle. So that means it's time to change something. You know, your body is alerting you and letting you know that something is happening, and you don't need it to shut it up. You need to find out what your body is telling you. All right, so for people that have abscess, that can mean that you have fermenting thoughts over hurts, slights, or revenge. All right, so consider that. If you are prone to a lot of accidents, it could probably mean your inability to speak up for yourself, rebellion against authority, and belief and violence. All right? If you have a lot of aches, maybe it is longing for love, longing to be held. All right? If you have acne ongoing, maybe, just maybe, it is not accepting the self. You know, a lot of our problems are mainly self love, okay? So I say have a love affair with yourself. A lot of the times, a lot of our problems are just not loving ourselves enough, all right? Some of us, we are loving ourselves, but as we go on in life, we find out there's deeper and deeper levels and that we really need to take care of ourselves. So acne can mean not accepting the self, disliking of the self. Addictions can mean running from the self, fear, and not knowing how to love self. All right? If you are having adrenaline problems, it can mean no longer caring for the self, anxiety, or defeatism. Hello there. Hello. If you have problems with alcoholism, maybe it is a feeling of guilt, inadequacy, self-rejection, or a feeling of futility, okay? Allergies possibly means denying your own power. Alzheimer's disease, refusal to deal with the world as it is, hopelessness and helplessness and anger. All right? Anemia means you have a yes but attitude. All right? A lack of joy, a fear of life, not feeling good enough. It just may possibly mean that you're not saying yes to life like you are thinking. I ask you to go deep. For some of you coming in, go back to the beginning of the video. I explained it a little bit more. I'm not saying that this is what it is. I'm not saying this is an exhaustive list. I'm not saying I'm a medical expert. What I am saying is that after I have had this illness that continued to keep coming up, I needed to start looking deeper at the metaphysical reasons maybe behind my illness and not just taking medicine to shut my body up, that I needed to pay attention, okay? All right, so ankle issues, inflexibility and guilt. Ankles represent the ability to receive pleasure, guys. Anxiety, not trusting the flow and the process of life. Apathy means fear, needing protection, and judging the emotions. You have arm issues. Arms represent the capacity and the ability to hold the experiences of life. Your arteries, they carry the joy of life. If you have arthritic fingers, it's a possibility that it means that you're feeling victimized, a desire to punish, a desire to blame. All right, guys? Arthritis, feeling unloved, criticism, resentment, rheumatoid arthritis, feeling victimized, a lack of love, chronic bitterness, resentment, deep criticism of authority, feeling very put upon. Asthma, smother love, inability to breathe for oneself, feeling stifled, suppressed crying. Athlete's foot, frustration or not being accepted, and an inability to move forward with ease. Back issues. Back issues, they represent, the back represents the support of life. So if you're having some back problems like rounded shoulders, maybe you're carrying the burdens of life. Helpless, feeling hopeless. Lower back pain could mean fear of money or lack of financial support. Mid-back pain can mean guilt, stuck in all the stuff back there, like saying, get off my back. Upper back can mean a lack of emotional support, feeling unloved, holding back love, all right? Back curvature could be the inability to flow with the support of life, fear, and trying to hold on to old ideas, not trusting life, or a lack of integrity. Balance is a loss of scattered thinking, not being centered. Bedwetting can mean fear of a parent, usually the father. Belching is usually fear, gulping life too quickly. All right? Bladder problems, anxiety, holding on to old ideas, fear of letting go, and being pissed off. Bleeding, joy running out, anger, all right? Body odor, fear, dislike of the self, fear of others. Bones represent the structure of the universe. So bone marrow represents deepest beliefs about the self, how you support and care for yourself, and breaks in the bones could mean rebelling against authority. All right? Brain, it represents the computer, the switchboard. If you have tumors, it could have meant some incorrect computer beliefs, stubborn, refusing to change old patterns. Your breasts, they represent mothering and nurturing and nourishment. Cysts and lumps, a refusal to nourish the self and putting everyone else first. Over mothering, over protection, overbearing attitudes. All right? Breath represents the ability to take in life, breathing problems, fear, not trusting the process of life, getting stuck in childhood, fear of taking in life fully. All right? Bronchitis, inflamed family environments, arguments, and yelling. Bruises, all right? The little bumps in life. That's what that means. Self-punishment. I don't know how many times I have stubbed my toe or something, and sometimes you just think it's random, but a lot of times you need to think about what you were thinking about right before that incident. So those accidents sometimes mean things, all right? All right, bulimia, hopeless terror, a frantic stuffing and purging of self-hatred. Burns, feeling burning up, anger, all right? Moving on, calluses, hardened concepts and ideas that represents fear solidified. Cancer, long-standing resentments, deep hurt, deep secret or grief eating away at the self, carrying hatreds, all right? Canker sores, festering words held back by the lips, and blame. Carpal tunnel syndrome, anger and frustration of life seemings injustices. Cataracts, the inability to see ahead with joy, a dark future. Cellulite, stored anger and self-punishment. All right? Chills, mental contraction, pulling away and in, a desire to retreat. Cholesterol, clogging the channels of joy and fear of accepting joy. Circulation represents the ability to feel and express the emotions in positive ways. Codes, meaning too much going on at once. Mental confusion, disorder, and small hurts. Colic, mental irritation, impatience, annoyance in your surroundings. Coma, escaping something or someone. Fear, all right? Constipation, incomplete releasing, holding on to the garbage of the past, guilt over the past, sometimes stinginess. Corns, hardened areas of thought, stubborn holding on to the pain of the past. Coughs, a desire to bark at the world, saying, listen to me. Crohn's disease, fear, worry, not feeling good enough. Crying, tears are the river of life, shed in joy as well as in sadness and fear. Cuts, punishment for not allowing and following your own rules. Cysts, running the old painful movie, nursing your hurts and a false growth. Cystic fibrosis, a thick belief that life won't work for you, having a poor me attitude. As I said, guys, some things could be related to other things, but if you have something that keeps coming up over and over again, I encourage you to look into this more and to see if these things fit you. Something that you may have been feeling or having some trouble with, okay? All right, so moving on. Depression, anger, you feel you do not have a right to have. Hopelessness is also what that could mean. Diabetes, long for what might have been. You're longing for what might have been. You might have a great need to control, deep sorrow, no sweetness left in life. Diarrhea, running off, can mean fear and rejection. Dry eyes, angry eyes, refusing to see with love, would rather die than forgive, being spiteful. All right? The ear represents the capacity to hear. Having aches can mean anger. Having aches can mean not wanting to hear. Sometimes household arguing. So sometimes you may have kids that have a lot of ear infections, and the doctor is saying that maybe it's from colds or something like that. It's a possibility that maybe the kid is hearing something they don't want to hear. Maybe they are in a household of arguing. Maybe they just do not want to hear something. Doesn't always mean that, but this is just something that you can look into. All right? Eczema, breathtaking antagonism, mental eruptions, edema, what or who won't you let go of? All right? Emphysema, fear of taking in life, not worthy of living. All right? Endometriosis, insecurity, disappointment and frustration, replacing self-love with sugar and blamers. Epilepsy, a sense of persecution, a rejection of life, a feeling of great struggle and self-violence. All right? Epstein-Barr virus, pushing beyond one's limits, fear of not being good enough, draining all inner support and stress. The eyes, they represent the capacity to see clearly, past, present, and future. All right? Astigmatism can mean trouble. I have trouble. I have fear of really seeing the self. And hyperopia means fear of the present. Myopia could mean fear of the future. All right. The face, guys, it represents what we show the world. Fainting can mean fear, can't cope, blacking out. All right. All right. Fat or weight issues can mean oversensitivity, often represents fear and shows a need for protection. Fear may be a cover for hidden anger and a resistance to forgive. It can mean running away from feelings, insecurity, self-rejection, and seeking fulfillment. All right? Your arms could be anger or being denied love. So the fat on the arms, the belly area can mean anger or being denied nourishment. In the hips, it can mean lumps of stubborn anger at the parents. The thighs can mean packed childhood anger, often rage at the father. All right, fatigue, resistance, boredom, lack of love for what one does. The feet, they represent our understanding of ourselves, of life, and of others. Foot problems, fear of the future, and of not stepping forward in life. All right? Fevers can mean burning up with anger. Fibroid tumors, nursing a hurt from a partner, a blow to the feminine ego. Fingers represents the details of life. The thumb represents intellect and worry. The index finger represents ego and fear. The middle finger represents anger and sexuality. The ring fingers represent the details of life, represents union and grief, and the little finger represents the family and pretending. Food poisoning, allowing others to take control and feeling defenseless. Frigidity means fear, denial of pleasure, a belief that sex is bad, insensitive partners, fear of the father. Fungus, stagnating beliefs, refusing to release the past, and letting the past rule today. Hello, Sister Fatima. Gallstones, bitterness, hard thoughts, condemning, pride. Gas, gripping fear that you may be holding, undigested ideas. Gastritis, prolonged uncertainty, a feeling of doom. In your genital areas, they represent the masculine and feminine principles. Worrying about not being good enough, if you may have problems in that area, could be a possibility. Gland problems represents holding stations, self-storing activity, holding yourself back. Gout issues, the need to dominate, impatience, and anger. Glaucoma, stony unforgiveness, pressure from long-standing hurts, or being overwhelmed by it all. Any growths, nursing those old hurts, building resentments. Gum problems, inability to back up decisions, indecisive about life. All right, your hands, hold and handle, clutch and grip, grasping and letting go, caressing, pinching. These all are ways of dealing with your experiences in life. Hay fever, emotional congestion, fear of the calendar, a belief in persecution, guilt. Headaches, invalidating the self, self-criticism, fear. Your heart, it represents the center of love and security. So those with heart attacks, squeezing all the joy out of the heart in favor of money or position, or feeling alone and scared, or feeling I'm not good enough, or I don't do enough, or I'll never make it. Heart problems can mean long-standing emotional problems, a lack of joy, hardening of the heart, belief in strains and stress. Heartburn can mean fear, 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 and clutching fear. Hemorrhoids are resistance to change, fear, anger, and hatred. The liver is the seat of anger and rage. Hernia, ruptured relationships, strains, burdens, and incorrect creative expression, guys. All right? Hives, small hidden fears, mountains, making mountains of the molehills. Your hips, they carry the body in perfect balance. They major thrust and moving forward. So fear of going forward in major decisions. Nothing to move forward to can be hip issues, okay? Hyperactivity, fear, feeling pressured and frantic. Hyperventilation, fear, resisting change, not trusting the process, all right? Impotence, sexual pressure, tension, guilt, social beliefs, spite against a previous mate, or fear of mother. Incontinence, emotional overflow, years of controlling emotions. Indigestion, gut level fear, dread, anxiety, gripping, and grunting. All right? Inflammation, fear, seeing red, inflamed thinking, anger, and frustration about conditions you are looking at in life. All right? Infections can mean irritation, annoyance, and anger. All right. Insomnia, fear, not trusting the process of life, and guilt. Insanity, fleeing from the family, escapism, withdrawal, violent separation from life. The intestines represent assimilation and absorption. Itching, desires that go against the grain. Unsatisfied, remorse, itching to get out or get away. A lot of this stuff is fear, guys, as I talked about at the beginning of the video. And a lot of us are taking in a lot of fear, listening to the media, minding other people's business and not taking care of ourselves. A lot of it is just fear. Yes, 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 Fatima. They correlate with our health. More than what we know, our body never lies to us, and it talks to us and it tells us things. And when we take medicine and we try to numb it up, we shut up our body. Not saying that you're not supposed to take anything. I'm just saying that if someone is having the same symptoms or ailments over and over, it may be time to look at the reasons, maybe metaphysically, behind all of it. All right, so kidney problems, criticism, disappointment, failure, shame, reacting like a child, kidney stones, lumps of undissolved anger. Our knees represents pride and ego. So it could be stubborn ego and pride, and inability to bend, fear, inflexibility, and won't give in. All right? Laryngitis, so mad you can't speak, fear of speaking up, resentment of authority. All right? I've had that. I had laryngitis one time, and I can also contribute it to allergies. But I had laryngitis one time, I think, for a whole week. So I can attest to maybe I wasn't speaking up to something at that time in my life. All right? So the left side of the body represents receptivity, taking in, feminine energy, women, the mother. The legs carry us forward in life. Our liver is the seat of anger and primitive emotions, chronic complaining, justifying, fault finding, to deceive yourself and feeling bad if you have some issues in that area. Lockjaw can mean a desire to control, anger, a refusal to express feelings, guys. You have that lockjaw. A lump in the throat can mean fear, not trusting the process of life, long issues, the ability to take in life, depression, grief, not feeling worthy of living life fully. All right? Lupus, giving up, better to die than stand up for oneself, anger and punishment. Lymph problems, a warning that the mind needs to be recentered on the essentials of life, love, and joy. All right. Menopause problems, fear of no longer being wanted, fear of aging, self-rejection, not feeling good enough. I did a whole video about women in menopause and how there's so much more to life after we are no longer having children, guys. I can't remember what it's called, but you might want to look that up. I'm sitting in a white dress with my granddaughter on that video. All right. Menstrual problems, dislike of being driven. Menstrual problems, rejection of one's femininity, guilt, fear, belief that genitals are sinful or dirty. Migraine headaches, dislike of being driven, resisting the flow of life, and sexual fears. All right? Miscarriage, fear of the future, inappropriate timing. All right? I knew that one. Mononucleosis. All right. That's a blooper right there, guys. You guys know what I'm trying to say. If I wasn't trying to say it, I'd be able to say it. Anger at not receiving love and appreciation, no longer caring for the self. All right. Motion sickness, fear, bondage, feeling of being trapped. All right. The mouth represents taking in of new ideas and nourishment, set opinions, closed mind, incapacity to take in new ideas. All right. Muscles, resistance to new experiences. Muscles represent our ability to move in life. All right, our nails represents protection. Nail biting can mean frustration, eating away at the self, spite of a parent. All right. Nausea can mean fear, rejecting an idea or experience. Narcolepsy, can't cope, extreme fear, wanting to get away from it all, not wanting to be here. Our neck represents, thank you, Fatima. Our neck represents flexibility, the ability to see what's back there, refusing to see the other sides of a question, stubbornness, inflexibility, unbending stubbornness, overreaction to disappointment and failure. All right, our nerves represent communication. They are our receptive reporters, guys. So that's, that's self-explanatory about that. A nervous breakdown can mean jamming the channels of communication or self-centeredness. Nervousness, fear, anxiety, struggle, rushing, not trusting the process of life. All right. Our nose represents self-recognition. So nosebleeds can be a need for recognition, feeling unnoticed, crying for love. Runny nose is asking for help, inner crying, stuffy nose, not recognizing the self-worth. All right, numbness, withholding love and consideration, and going dead mentally. All right, osteoporosis, feeling there's no support left in life, mental pressures and tightness, muscles can't stretch, loss of mental inability. All right, I mean loss of mental mobility. Ovaries represent our points of creation. It's our creative center. Pain, guilt. Guilt always seeks punishment. So if you have a lot of pain, it can be guilt because maybe you're seeking punishment, guys. All right. Paralysis, paralyzing thoughts, getting stuck, terror, leading to escape from a situation or a purpose or a person. Pancreas represents the sweetness of life. So pancreatitis could mean rejection, anger, and frustration because life seems to have lost its sweetness. Parasites, if I go past, giving power to others, letting them take over and live off of you. All right? Peptic ulcers, fear. Fear is in this a lot. A belief that you're not good enough and anxious to please. Pimples, simple, small outbursts of anger. Pituitary gland represents the control center. Pneumonia could mean you're tired of life, desperate, emotional wounds that are not allowed to heal. All right. Premenstrual syndrome, allowing confusion to reign, giving power to outside influences, and rejection of the feminine processes. The prostate represents the masculine principle. Mental fears weaken the masculinity. So it can mean giving up, sexual pleasure and guilt, and a belief in aging. All right, rashes means irritation over delays, immature ways to get attention. Our right side of the body, it can mean giving out, letting go, masculine energy, men, and the father is what that represents. Ringworm, allowing others to get under your skin, not feeling good enough or clean enough. Scabies, infected thinking, allowing others to get under your skin. Sciatica, being hypercritical, fear of money and of the future. Stretches, feeling life tears at you, that life is a ripoff, all right? The skin represents the standards of life, breaking down ideals, all right? The shin, shingles, waiting for the other shoe to drop, fear and tension, too sensitive. There's our fear again, all right? Sinus problems, irritation to one person or someone close. Skin, it protects our individuality. We can have anxiety there, we can have fear. It can mean old buried things, and I am being threatened when you have some skin problems, all right? Snoring, stubborn refusal to let go of old patterns. Sores, they can represent unexpressed anger that settles in. Your spleen, being obsessed about things or obsession. You have sprains, little sprains. Like I said, sometimes when I am walking around, when I stub my toe, but this is different. This is sprains. Sometimes you have to go back and think about what you were thinking in that moment when those little accidents happen. But they can mean anger and resistance and not wanting to move in a certain direction in life, all right? Sterility can mean fear and resistance to the process of life or not needing to go through the parenting experience. All right, stiffness can mean stiff thinking and rigid. All right, our stomach holds our nourishment. It digests ideas. And so if you have some problems in that area, it can mean fear of the new, inability to assimilate the new, all right, and dread. Stroke can mean resistance, rather die than change, a rejection of life, And sometimes we know people are just giving up, all right? Stuttering can mean insecurity, lack of self-expression, not being allowed to cry. A sty can mean looking at life through angry eyes or angry at someone, all right? Suicidal thoughts means you see life only in black and white and you refuse to see another way out, all right? Your teeth represents your decisions. So with teeth problems, it could mean long-standing indecisiveness, an inability to break down ideas for analysis and decision. If you're needing a root canal, it could mean that you haven't been able to bite into anything anymore. Your root beliefs are being destroyed, and your impacted wisdom teeth can mean not giving yourself mental space to create a firm foundation. All right, our throat is an avenue of expression. It is a channel of creativity, and with throat problems, it can mean the inability to speak up for oneself sometimes. All right, swallowed anger, stifled creativity, a refusal to change, and a sore throat can mean holding in angry words, feeling unable to express the self. All right? Thrush, anger over making the wrong decisions. Your thymus gland can mean you're feeling attacked by life if you have problems in that area, that they are out to get me. You feel that. Thyroid gland, humiliation. I never get to do what I want to do. When is it going to be my turn? All right. If you have hyperthyroid, it can mean a rage at being left out. All right. The tics, the twitches can mean fear, a feeling of being watched by others. All right. Tinnitus or ringing in the ears can mean refusal to listen, not hearing the inner voice, or stubbornness. Now, our toes represent the minor details of the future, and our tongue represents the ability to taste the pleasures of life with joy. So with tonsillitis, it can mean fear, repressed emotions, and stifled creativity. Tuberculosis, wasting away from selfishness, possessive, cruel thoughts, and revenge. All right, so there's a lot of things here about punishment. There's a lot of things about fear, guys. So this is all love of ourselves and love of others, right? Forgiveness we may need to do. Urinary infections can mean pissed off, usually at the opposite sex or a lover, or blaming others. Our uterus represents the home of creativity, guys. That's our womb. All right, vaginitis can mean anger at a mate, sexual guilt, punishing the self. Varicose veins, standing in a situation you hate, discouragement, feeling overworked and overburdened. Vomiting can mean violent rejection of ideas and fear of the new. All right. Warts can mean little expressions of hate, belief in ugliness. Plantar warts can mean angry at the very basis of your understanding, spreading frustration about the future. And your wrist represents movement and ease, guys. All right. I want you to say with me, all is well. Everything is working out for my highest good, and I am safe, guys. Mind your own business out there. Tend to your own business. All right. We got to stop watching the fear and the hate. We have to have a love affair with ourselves and love others, all right? You are safe. This is the beginning, this video, I hope, for world healing, guys. I love you so much. Pass the video along to someone it can help, and I'll see you on that future video. Love you.